But now our first guest has lost her heart to a Starship Trooper, being the subject of some hot gossip, found herself as the object of a phantom's obsession, and has been described as one of the best-selling sopranos of all time. And judging by these hits, it's not hard to see why. Please welcome Sarah Brightman. Hello. Lovely to see you.
Nice.
We're all filling up after that song.
Well, I was laughing because I always seem to be kissing somebody, having a snog. So
Do you love your job?
I love my job. Some bits are a bit...
You've had some cracking leading men, though, haven't you?
I have. I've been really, really lucky.
Yeah, we saw Cliff there and Andrea.
Quite naughty sometimes.
Really? Do tell.
Come on now.
No, lovely Andrea, he was lovely, but he'd always come up and he'd go, "Oh, sorry."
I was
definitely a ladies' man.
Actually, I was reading about how you played a trick on one of your leading men, Michael Crawford, when you stood in a wrong place on the stage deliberately to wind him up.
Yes, no, you're completely right. He was very particular and knew all of his moves. And one day he'd been lovely but a bit tricky, so I thought, OK. And I have no problem with moving around
Lovely
the
but a
stage.
bit tricky.
Yeah.
You convinced that it's driving you mad.
No, but it's part of his character, you
Yeah.
see, and so that's how he would be. So one day I just decided to go completely the opposite side of the stage and move around and do all sorts of things, and he was going like this, and it threw him completely, but it was fine. He's lovely.
Do you have really fond memories when you look back through your career? You've done such an amazing body of work, because you come through from, you know, Pants People, Hot Gossip, then through musical theatre, and you are continually one of the best-selling sopranos of all time. What do you think when you look back? Are you glad that you've kind of chopped and changed direction?
Do you know, each period has its own story and its own sort of texture and feeling. But when I do look back on everything, I feel incredibly lucky. And I feel lucky in what's happened to me, but also in that, you know, I was given my voice and I was given all my little strengths that I have, and my difficulties and all of those things, because it's actually made for me a really rich life, and I would say all of it has been worth it, and there's always been a reason for it.
And you're making it even richer now because you're going into space.
Yes.
Is this for real? Are you really going to space?
Yes.
I thought you were a wind-up.
You've done all the practicing, haven't you?
Yes, I've been wanting to go for years, and I was brought up through the 60s, and of course saw on a black and white TV screen the first man land on the moon, and it changed me. I started to actually understand at that point that human beings could do amazing things in their life and think out of the box, and I started to really work. I actually thank that moment in many ways for having the sort of focus and energy that I started to put into my career. But I think subliminally through my career, I was always interested in aviation, and you know, any opportunity I could to get onto a plane, I would. A light aircraft. My father flew, my uncle flew, I have a sister that flew, and just the opportunity sort of first came up quite a few years ago when I was in America, that, you know, the opening of suborbital flights, which really means you're just going up and then coming straight down, and I signed on for that, and then things went on and I was asked if I'd be interested to go to the International Space Station, and first I said, no, I'm not sure about this, because you have to go through huge medicals and all of those things. I'm not sure. I wanted to know what was going on in my body for the future in case it wasn't positive. But then I was asked a second time and I said, OK, I'll go for the first section in the medicals, and I passed through, excuse the pun, with flying colours. And then I thought, OK, I'll do this next stage, and I went to Star City in Russia. I got through all the physical tests, the psychological tests, everything you have to go through. It was pretty tough. And I'm now officially, as by the Russian Space Federation, a cosmonaut in training.
How exciting!
Can you sing in space? Sarah, can you sing in space?
I was with an astronaut, actually, who was in the Mir station in Vienna the other day, and I asked this question. He said, yes, you can. He said the vanity aspect of how you will look if you're being filmed won't be great, because in zero gravity you look quite strange. But the idea of singing in space and maybe connecting with other musicians on Earth, maybe if they're doing a concert somewhere or whatever, would be a beautiful thing. There is a little bit of a time delay which would have to be worked out.
Incredible, mind-boggling concept to sing from space and link up.
And you're going round. You see 16 sunsets a day, so you could actually move around the Earth and sing part of a song in one place and part of the song in the other.
You've got a new album out. It's called Dream Chaser, but it's been very heavily influenced by your love of space, hasn't it?
It was when I started on this journey quite a few years back. That was when the sort of inception of it started, and it's everything that I've learnt through, talking to scientists and cosmonauts and astronauts and everything about it, really coming up from, growing up through the 60s in that time, has been totally inspiring. And I'm not a composer of music, I interpret music, but I was suddenly able to pick beautiful, expansive pieces which I wouldn't normally have gone towards.
We've got a really good example of that, actually, because you've taken a song which is very well known, especially after last year, through the Jubilee, and this is your little twist on it. Let's take a look. That's your single that is out now.
Yes. I mean, originally it was sung and written by Elbow, and I love the idea of it for this particular album, because how I took the lyrics was, it was really saying one small experience can last you a whole lifetime. And I know, as human beings, we have got greedy for experience, and sometimes we miss those smaller things which make up our life. So that was why I thought it would be a beautiful human thing to put on the album.
That's the Festival of Holi, isn't it?
It is, and I chose it because it is the festival of light, the festival of love. And in fact, the footage there was it was on West and the East, in that they celebrated also have a festival in Utah as well as in India. So it was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Sarah, I know Andrew Lloyd Webber, your ex-husband, pretty well, and he played not aspects of love, Love Never Dies to me when he'd written it.
Right.
And I just think it must have been so incredible to have been married to someone who wrote a musical especially for you.
It was a lovely thing. It's funny, at the time you don't realise it, because it's all happening in the present and you're just going with it. But when I look back on that time and knowing him,
because you were in Cats for a year, weren't you?
I was,
and he didn't really notice you until you'd left Cats.
That's right, and I went to sing in a little children's opera called Nightingale, and he came to see a performance and then took me for dinner afterwards. But we'd always got on very well because we were interested in the sound of music, which of course he's done. And I had started up a little record company, and I'd put a single of a medley of pieces from the Sound of Music. So, and we liked the same composers. We loved Rachmaninoff and Puccini, and we could talk about lots of things. So there was always something between us, which was sweet.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Sarah, it's been so fascinating to talk to you today. Is it 2015 that you're going to be doing your space bit?
That's the window for going up.
Please come back after and tell us all about it. It's Sarah Brightman, everyone.